The more you chase, the faster they run. The more you pull, the tighter they resist. That's the harsh truth, my friends. We've all been lied to about attraction. We've been told that if we just try harder, if we keep proving our worth, if we never stop chasing, they'll finally wake up and love us the way we deserve. But let me break that lie right now. Chasing doesn't pull them closer. Chasing pushes them further away. Have you ever wondered why someone who once couldn't get enough of you suddenly starts pulling back, acting distant and treating you like an option? It feels like a knife in the chest. You think, what did I do wrong? Why don't they see my value anymore? And that's when the panic sets in. You start sending more messages, showing up more, doing whatever you can to win them back. But folks, let me tell you something. That very reaction is what makes them lose interest even faster. Before we dive deep into the secrets of dark psychology and stoicism that will make them come back crawling, I need you to do something for me. Smash that like button, hit subscribe, and stay with me until the very end of this video, because what I'm about to share isn't just advice. It's a wake-up call that can flip the entire dynamic in your favor. Now, hey folks, imagine this. You're holding on to sand in your fist. The tighter you squeeze, the faster it slips through your fingers. But if you open your hand and let it rest calmly in your palm, it stays there. That's attraction. The tighter you cling, the faster they escape. The more relaxed and grounded you are, the more they stay. Love, like sand, can't be forced. It can only be allowed. And here's the thing, my friends. People value what they can't easily have. That's human psychology, plain and simple. Scarcity makes gold precious. Abundance makes water ignored. When you make yourself too available, too predictable, too needy, you become like running water from a tap, always there, always taken for granted. But when you step back, when you pull your energy away, suddenly you become the rare gem they can't stop thinking about. I know some of you are sitting there thinking, but if I stop chasing, won't they forget me? Won't they move on? That's the fear talking. That's the lie society has programmed into you, to believe that your worth depends on how much you do for them. Epictetus, the great Stoic philosopher, once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." And right now, the way you've been reacting, by chasing, overgiving, overproving, is costing you your power. So let's flip the script. Instead of being the one begging for attention, you become the one who commands it. Instead of being predictable, you become mysterious. Instead of being needy, you become magnetic. My friends, this isn't about playing childish games. It's about mastering yourself so completely that your silence becomes louder than any words you could ever say. Picture this. You go quiet. You stop running after them. You step back into your own world, focusing on your growth, your passions, your joy. At first, they'll think you're just upset, maybe even playing games. But as days go by, the silence grows heavier. They start to notice the void where your attention used to be. They wonder, why aren't they chasing me? Did I lose them? Was I wrong to let them go? And that's when regret starts to creep in like a shadow they can't shake. Folks, that's the power we're talking about here. The power of detachment, the power of silence, the power of letting them feel your absence instead of constantly forcing your presence. You don't have to scream to be heard. Sometimes the loudest thing you can say is nothing at all. So stay with me, because in this video I'm going to show you how to embody this energy, step by step. We're going to dig into timeless Stoic principles, mix them with powerful psychological truths, and give you the tools to not only make them miss you, but to make them come back crawling, realizing exactly what they lost. But first, I need you to drop a comment below with the words, "I am done chasing." Show yourself, show the world, and let it be the first step in reclaiming your power. And while you're at it, Press that like button and subscribe, because trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. My friends, this is your time. This is your rise. Say it, feel it, and write it down. I attract, I don't chase. Number 1, the hidden law of reversal. The more you run after them, the more you push them away. That's the law, my friends, and whether you like it or not, it's written deep inside human psychology. Think about it. When someone is desperate to win you, clinging on, over-explaining, never giving you space, do you feel more attracted to them, or do you feel smothered? The answer is obvious, yet when we're the ones on the losing end of love, when they start pulling away, fear blinds us. Fear whispers, if you don't act now, you'll lose them forever. That fear drives you into chasing harder, giving more, trying desperately to fill the cracks. But here's the paradox. The harder you try to keep them, the faster they slip through your fingers. Imagine holding a balloon filled with water. Hold it gently, it stays in your hand, but squeeze it too tightly and the water bursts out in every direction. Attraction works the same way. The more you try to grip it with control, the quicker it disappears. That's the hidden law of reversal. You think chasing will fix the distance, but the very act of chasing creates more distance. And I know exactly what's going through their mind right now. But if I stop chasing, won't they just move on? Won't they forget me completely? That's the fear that chains so many people. That's the lie you've been sold. The world teaches you that love is about constant proving. Prove your worth, prove your loyalty, prove your love. Movies tell you to run to the airport before they leave, to show up with flowers, to never stop fighting for them. But folks, real psychology doesn't work like Hollywood. Real attraction is not built in begging. It's built in balance, mystery, and power. Epictetus once said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." What does that mean here? It means you must be willing to look like you're doing nothing, even when your fear is screaming at you to do everything. You must be content with their silence, their distance, their confusion, without reacting. Because the moment you react, you hand over your power. The moment you chase, you confirm their belief that you need them more than they need you. And nothing kills attraction faster than that. Picture this, my friends. They've been pulling back, not responding as quickly, not showing the same enthusiasm. You feel the panic rising in your chest. Your mind spins with questions. What if they found someone else? What if they're losing interest? What if this is the end? That storm of fear inside you is what pushes you to act, send another message, make another call, explain yourself again. But what happens when you do? Do they suddenly come running back, full of love? No. More often, they become even colder. They see your panic, they smell the desperation, and it suffocates the attraction. Here's where the hidden law of reversal kicks in. Instead of doing what fear tells you, you do the opposite. Instead of chasing, you pause. Instead of panicking, you hold still. Instead of flooding them with attention, you let silence do the work. That silence is not empty. It's loaded. It makes them feel the shift. They're so used to your reassurance, your constant presence, your quick replies, that when it's gone, it rattles them. Suddenly, it's their mind spinning with questions. Why aren't they chasing? Did I do something wrong? Have I lost them? And that's when the tables turn. But let's be honest, this is not easy. Everything in you will resist it. Every instinct will scream at you to run back, to make sure they don't slip away. It's going to feel like standing on the edge of a cliff while your heart begs you to step back. That's why most people fail. They give in to fear, they break the silence, they chase. And by doing so, they destroy the very attraction they're trying to save. Think about it this way. Imagine a campfire. If you smother it with too much wood, too much fuel, it dies. But if you step back, If you give it space and air, it burns brighter. Relationships work the same way. Constant pressure suffocates. Space, silence, and absence allow the fire to breathe. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. You can't control if they text you back. You can't control if they come running to you tomorrow. But you can control your reaction. You can control whether you chase or whether you stand firm. You can control whether you let fear run your life or whether you let silence build your power." And here's what's beautiful about this law of reversal. When you stop chasing, you stop losing. When you stop giving away your energy, you stop bleeding your value. Instead of appearing desperate, you appear mysterious. Instead of being predictable, you become unpredictable. Instead of being the one who needs, you become the one who is needed. That shift is magnetic. That shift is what makes them crawl back. So yes, my friends, this will be difficult. It will test every fiber of your emotional control. But difficulty is the doorway to transformation. Remember what Seneca said. It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. Don't waste your time chasing someone who pulls away. Don't waste your dignity on proving yourself to someone blind to your value. Instead, use the power of reversal. Step back, stay calm, and let them feel the loss. Now, I want you to do this for yourself, right here, right now. Drop a comment below with the words, "I will not chase." Let it be your declaration. Show yourself. Show the world around you. Because when you say it out loud, when you type it and commit, you start rewiring your mind. You stop being the one who runs, and you become the one who attracts. And stay with me, because this is just the first law. What comes next is even more powerful. We're going to dive into silence, not as weakness, but as a weapon. And when you see how silence shakes their mind, you'll never look at it the same way again. My friends, this is your rise. This is your power. Remember this truth. I do not chase, I attract. Write it, believe it, live it. Number 2, silence as a weapon. Silence isn't empty, it's full of answers. My friends, that's not just a quote, it's a law of life and love. You see, most people fear silence. They think if they're not talking, not explaining, not filling the space, they'll lose the other person completely. But here's the paradox. When you always fill the silence, you rob yourself of the greatest weapon you have. Silence unsettles. Silence exposes. Silence forces them to face the truth they've been running from. Now imagine this. You're standing in a room with someone who has always depended on you to break the tension, to reassure, to carry the weight of every conversation. Suddenly, you stop. You lean back into silence. At first, they're confused. They expect your usual reaction, the quick text back, the long explanation, the apology even when it's not your fault. But when you don't give it, the silence grows. That silence is like a mirror. They're forced to see themselves in it, and most people don't like what they see. Let me ask you, folks, why do you think they keep pulling away, acting distant while you keep chasing? Because they know you'll never let the silence settle. They know you'll always run in to fix things. And when someone knows you're predictable, when they know you'll always be there no matter how they act, your value drops. They stop fearing losing you because you've never given them the chance to feel your absence. Silence changes that. Silence breaks the pattern. It's funny, isn't it? People will tell you silence is weakness. They'll say, if you really care, you should speak up. You should fight for them. You should make it known. But here's the truth. Sometimes the strongest voice is the one that says nothing. The Stoics knew this well. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The best answer to anger is silence." That applies here too. The best answer to distance, to disrespect, to coldness is silence. Because silence is not submission, it's control. Picture their mind during your silence. At first they think, good, they finally stopped texting me. They even feel relief. But as the hours pass, the relief fades into curiosity. Why haven't they reached out yet? They always do. Curiosity then sharpens into doubt. Did I push them too far? Are they losing interest in me? Could they be with someone else? And that doubt turns into fear, the same fear that once haunted you. My friends, this is the beauty of silence. It reverses the fear. It makes them feel the loss you've been drowning in. But let's be honest, it's not easy to stay silent. It feels like torture at first. Your fingers itch to type a message. Your chest tightens when you see their name pop up online. Every part of you screams, reach out or you'll lose them forever. That's the fear talking, not your power. And this is where Stoic discipline comes in. Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Can you master your own urge to break silence? Can you control your need to fill the gap? That's the test. And if you can pass it, you'll discover just how magnetic silence can be. Think of silence as oxygen. When it's abundant, no one notices it. But take it away and suddenly it becomes the only thing anyone can think about. Your presence, your words, your constant reassurance. It has become like oxygen for them, always there, always unnoticed. But when you take it away, when you step back and give them silence, they gasp for it. They feel the weight of your absence pressing on them, and it rattles them more than any words could. Here's another metaphor for you folks. Imagine you're at a concert and the music suddenly stops. The silence that follows isn't peaceful, it's powerful. It makes the audience restless, uneasy, waiting for the next note. That's the silence you create when you stop chasing. You become the music they can't stop waiting to hear again. But don't get it twisted. Silence is not about playing games. This isn't manipulation. This is about reclaiming your balance. It's about refusing to waste energy on someone who isn't giving it back. It's about showing them, without words, that your value doesn't depend on their attention. When you're silent, you're saying, I don't need to explain. I don't need to prove. I am enough, with or without you. And let's break another lie while we're at it. They told you that silence means you don't care. Wrong. Silence means you care about yourself enough not to chase. Silence means you're choosing your peace over their drama. Silence means you've stopped being their safety net, and now they have to walk the wire on their own. That's not lack of care, that's strength. Now here's the beauty. Silence is universal. Whether it's someone new who lost interest or someone you've loved who pulled away, silence works the same. It creates mystery. It creates scarcity. It creates doubt. And doubt is the seed of regret. When they're no longer sure they've got you, they start to miss you. They start to realize what they lost. And slowly, step by step, they start to crawl back. But my friends, here's where most people fail. They use silence as a weapon for a few days, then crack under pressure. They send a message, just checking in. They call, hey, I was thinking about you. And in that instant, all the power is gone. Silence only works if you commit to it. It only works if you trust it. Because silence is like a storm. It starts slowly, then grows louder, heavier, unavoidable. You must let it build until they feel it deep in their bones. Seneca once said, "He who is brave is free." And in this case, bravery is staying silent when your heart begs you to speak. Bravery is holding the line while their absence eats at you. Bravery is knowing your worth doesn't decrease just because someone else can't see it. When you master that bravery, you become free. Free from fear, free from neediness, free from their control. So, my friends, let me leave you with this. Silence isn't weakness, it's strategy. Silence isn't emptiness, it's power. Silence isn't the end, It's the beginning of them realizing your value, and while they sit in the chaos of their thoughts, you sit in the calm of your strength. Write this down in the comments right now. My silence is my power. Let the world see it. Let yourself see it. Because when you declare it, you step into a new identity. You're no longer the one chasing. You're no longer the one begging. You're the one in control. And stay with me, because this is just the beginning. If silence is the weapon, absence is the battlefield. Next, we'll uncover how stepping back, truly disappearing from their world, creates a gravitational pull so strong they'll have no choice but to feel it. My friends, your silence is the storm that will shake their world. Believe it, live it, and watch them crawl back into your orbit. Number 3, the power of absence. Absence sharpens love, presence strengthens it. That's not just poetry, my friends, it's pure psychology. The truth is simple. People do not value what is always in front of them. They value what they fear losing. They value what feels scarce. They value what is not easily in their grasp. And yet, when they start pulling away, what do most people do? They panic. They double down. They pour out even more attention, thinking that if they just give enough, if they just stay present enough, they can stop the drift. But here's the paradox. The more present you make yourself, the less they feel your presence. It fades into background noise, and only when you remove it, only when you disappear, do they realize how much weight it carried. Let me paint you a picture, folks. Imagine a clock ticking in the background. Tick, tick, tick. At first, it's all you hear, but give it enough time and your brain tunes it out. You stop noticing it altogether. Now remove that ticking. Suddenly the silence feels strange. You're unsettled. You start searching for it because you had gotten used to it. That's exactly what your presence becomes when you're too available. Like background noise, they stop noticing. But when you step back, when you go absent, the silence grows loud. They feel the missing piece. They feel the void. And that void pulls harder than anything you could ever say or do. Now, I know what you might be thinking. But if I step back, won't they just move on? Won't they forget me? That's fear talking again. That's the voice of insecurity trying to trick you into chasing. But let's break that lie right now. People don't forget what's valuable. They only forget what's ordinary. And if you've been the one giving, showing up, pouring your energy into them, then your absence will hit them like a storm. They won't forget you. They'll feel you everywhere. In the places you used to go together, in the times they used to hear from you, in the routines you used to fill. That's not forgetting, that's haunting. The Stoics understood this principle deeply. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The things we love tell us what we are." When you step away, when you stop handing yourself over so freely, you force them to face what you truly were to them. They start to realize your presence wasn't just casual, it was anchoring them. And when that anchor is lifted, they drift into a sea of restlessness. That restlessness makes them long for you, crave you, miss you. Let me give you another metaphor, my friends. Imagine drinking water straight from a flowing tap. You don't think about it, you don't savor it, it's just there. Now imagine walking through a desert with a dry mouth and no water in sight. Suddenly, a single sip feels like the most valuable thing in the world. That's the difference between constant presence and strategic absence. When you're always around, they sip without thought. When you disappear, they thirst, and thirst always makes people crawl back. But here's where it gets difficult, and where most people fail. Absence feels dangerous. It feels risky. Your mind will scream, "If I disappear, they'll find someone else. If I disappear, they'll stop caring." But what if I told you that the real danger is the opposite? The real danger is being so ever-present, so predictable, that they stop valuing you at all. You see, absence doesn't kill attraction, overexposure does. Just like too much sun burns the skin, too much presence burns away desire. Now, let's break another lie. They told you that if you love someone, you should always be there, always available, always ready to drop everything. But that's not love, that's self-erasure. That's making yourself too cheap, too easy, too constant. True love isn't about erasing yourself to fit into their life. It's about holding your ground so your presence has weight. Absence is not abandonment. Absence is respect for yourself and for the power of space. And here's the psychology behind it. Humans are wired to crave what they fear losing. It's called the scarcity principle. When something is limited, its value skyrockets. Diamonds are just rocks, but their scarcity makes them priceless. Now apply that to yourself. If you make yourself unlimited, always accessible, you become like gravel on the ground, common, overlooked. But if you step back, if you become scarce, you transform into a diamond. And suddenly, the same person who once ignored you starts craving you again. Let me make it even clearer. Think about your favorite song. Play it on repeat for days, and what happens? You get tired of it. It loses its magic. But stop listening for a while, and when it finally comes back on the radio, your chest lights up. You sing along like it's brand new. That's the power of absence. It restores the magic. It reignites the appreciation. But make no mistake, my friends, embracing absence is not easy. It takes courage. It takes self-control. It takes trusting that your worth doesn't depend on constant reminders. And this is where Stoic discipline becomes your guide. Epictetus taught, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." In relationships, true wealth is not in needing them constantly, but in needing less. When you no longer need to be in their face, when you no longer need to prove yourself every hour, you free yourself. That freedom is magnetic. That freedom is what makes them realize what they've lost. So here's the shift. Instead of fearing absence, embrace it, use it, let it work for you. Let them feel what it's like to live without your presence. Let them walk through their desert without your water. Let them sit in the silence where your voice used to be. That discomfort is the very thing that will drive them back. Now ask yourself, are you willing to be missed? Are you willing to stop being the background noise and become the melody they can't get out of their head? Because if you are, then absence is your weapon. And it's sharper than any argument, louder than any words, more powerful than any chase. Write this in the comments right now. My absence has value. Show yourself. Show the world. Because when you believe that, when you declare it, you step into a new reality. You stop being the one who begs for attention, and you become the one whose absence demands it. And stay with me, folks, because we're only getting started. If absence is the battlefield, detachment is the armor. Next, we're going to talk about emotional detachment, how to master your feelings so you can never be controlled again. When you hear this, you'll understand why the calmest person in the room always holds the most power. My friends, let your absence speak louder than your words, and watch them crawl back into the silence you left behind. Number 4, emotional detachment, dark Stoic energy. He who angers you, conquers you. That's Epictetus, my friends, and it cuts deep, doesn't it? Because think about how many times they've pulled away, acted distant, ignored your message, cancelled your plans, and you let it shatter your peace. You let their actions control your emotions. You let their distance dictate your worth. And every time you reacted with anger, panic, or desperation, you handed them the crown. You crowned them king or queen over your emotions. That's what happens when you lack emotional detachment. Now let me ask you this. How free can you really be if your mood rises and falls with someone else's attention? How strong can you really be if every unanswered text feels like a dagger to your chest? If every delay in their reply sends your mind into chaos? That's not freedom, my friends. That's slavery. Slavery to their validation. And Stoicism teaches us one brutal truth. You cannot control them, but you can always control yourself. Imagine this scene with me. You're standing on a stormy sea in a small boat. The waves are wild, crashing, pulling you in every direction. That sea is your emotions when you tie them to someone else's behavior. They smile, you rise with joy. They frown, you sink into despair. They drift, you panic. But now imagine an anchor dropping deep into the ocean, holding firm, steadying the boat even when the waves rage. That anchor is emotional detachment. It doesn't mean you don't feel. It doesn't mean you don't care. It means you are steady no matter what storm they create. And let's be honest, detachment feels scary at first. You've been programmed to believe that love equals obsession, that caring means constant checking, constant reassurance, constant worry. They told you, if you're not anxious about losing them, you don't really care. But that's a lie, folks. Love without detachment isn't love, it's dependence. And dependence is the quickest way to destroy attraction. No one craves a partner who is emotionally hostage to their every move. They crave someone who can stand tall, who can remain calm, who cannot be shaken. Let me break it down with a simple truth. The less reactive you are, the more attractive you become. When they see that their silence doesn't break you, that their games don't control you, that their distance doesn't crush you, they feel a shift. It rattles them, because they expected you to run, to beg, to chase. But when you stand still, when you remain calm, when you show emotional detachment, they begin to chase. They begin to crave. That's dark psychology, my friends, the reversal of power. Think of it like a chess game. The player who reacts to every move without thought loses. The one who stays calm, patient, and strategic wins. Emotional detachment is your strategy. It's what makes them question themselves instead of you questioning them. And nothing unsettles the human mind more than losing control of the person they thought they had wrapped around their finger. Now, let's talk about why this is so hard. Because when you care about someone, every fiber of your being wants to react. They ignore your call, and your mind screams, "Send another one." They cancel plans, and you want to demand an explanation. They post online while ignoring you, and your chest burns with anger. That's natural, that's human. But Stoicism teaches us that nature can be mastered. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Detachment is simply this. You stop giving them the keys to your reactions. You stop making them the master of your mood. Here's a metaphor for you. Imagine you're holding a remote control. On that remote are buttons: joy, sadness, anger, anxiety. Now imagine handing that remote to them. Every time they press a button, you feel it. They hit ignore, sadness. They hit late reply, anxiety. They hit cancel, anger. You've given them total control over your emotions. But emotional detachment is ripping that remote out of their hand and keeping it for yourself. Now only you decide when to feel joy, when to feel peace, when to move forward. That's real power. Let me share something powerful. When you stop reacting, you create mystery. They expect you to panic. They expect you to chase. But when you don't, when you stay calm, when you detach, they're left wondering, why aren't they reacting? Did I lose my grip? Are they done with me? That uncertainty eats at them. That's the moment when they start to miss you. That's the moment when they begin crawling back, trying to figure out where they stand. But remember this, it's not about faking detachment. It's not about acting calm on the outside while you're falling apart inside. True detachment comes from building yourself so strong that you genuinely don't need their validation. It comes from knowing your worth so deeply that their silence cannot shake it. It comes from filling your life with so much purpose, growth, and joy that their distance feels small compared to the empire you're building. That's the kind of detachment that's magnetic. Let's break another lie while we're at it. People think detachment means not caring at all, becoming cold, shutting off your emotions. That's not detachment, that's numbness. Detachment is balance. It's caring without clinging. It's loving without losing yourself. It's feeling without being controlled by those feelings. It's the art of being present with someone while knowing you'll survive even if they leave. And paradoxically, that's what makes them stay. Because nothing is more attractive than someone who doesn't need you, but chooses you. Here's the tough part. You will feel fear. You will feel the urge to break silence. You will feel the anxiety of uncertainty. But that's the training ground. That's the fire that forges steel. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Your fear is not the end, it's the path. The very fear of letting go is what, once mastered, makes you unshakable. So ask yourself, do you want to be the one who reacts or the one who controls the board? Do you want to be the one begging for scraps of attention or the one whose calm absence makes them restless? Because that choice comes down to one skill: emotional detachment. Now, here's what I want you to do. Right now, drop a comment with the words, "I control my emotions." Let it be your declaration. Show yourself. Show the world around you. Because when you say it, when you write it, when you believe it, you take the remote back. You anchor your boat. You steady your soul. And that, my friends, is the energy no one can resist. And stay with me, because if detachment is the armor, unpredictability is the sword. Next, we're going to talk about how breaking patterns, shaking routines, and becoming unpredictable makes you unforgettable. That's where the real dark pull begins, the kind that keeps them awake at night, wondering about you. But for now, remember this truth. I control my emotions, they don't. Write it, believe it, live it. That is dark, stoic energy. Number 5, becoming unpredictable. Familiarity breeds contempt. That's an old saying, folks, and it hits harder than most people want to admit. The truth is, when someone knows exactly what you're going to do, when every move you make is predictable, when they can guess your next text before you send it, they lose curiosity. And without curiosity, attraction dies. Because attraction, at its core, is about mystery. It's about wonder. It's about the spark of not knowing what comes next. And when you've made yourself predictable, you've killed the very spark you were trying so desperately to keep alive. Think about it, my friends. Why do movies with predictable endings bore us? Why do we stop watching TV shows when we already know the script? Why do we put down books when the plot becomes too obvious? Because the human mind craves suspense. It craves uncertainty. It craves the thrill of surprise. That same principle applies to relationships. If they know you'll always text first, if they know you'll always be available, if they know you'll always forgive instantly, if they know you'll always fold when they push, you become a story they've already read. And stories they've already read end up tossed aside. Now picture this. You've been messaging them every morning like clockwork. They expect it. They've grown used to it. But one day, you stop. The message doesn't come. At first, they brush it off. Maybe they're busy. But as the hours pass, doubt creeps in. Why didn't they text me? Did something change? Did they lose interest? Suddenly, your silence has become unpredictable, and that unpredictability makes them think, makes them wonder, makes them care. Here's the psychological truth. Predictability feels safe, but it kills desire. Unpredictability feels risky, but it sparks obsession. People chase what they don't fully understand. They desire what they can't fully control. That's dark psychology in action. When you break your patterns, you shake their expectations. You force them to re-engage with you. You force them to notice you again. But let's be clear, unpredictability doesn't mean playing silly games. It's not about sending mixed signals or deliberately trying to confuse them. It's about living in such a way that you cannot be boxed in. It's about showing that your world is bigger than them, that your attention doesn't run on their schedule, that your life is filled with things they don't fully have access to. That's the kind of unpredictability that pulls them in. Think of fire, my friends. A controlled candle is nice, it's safe, it's predictable. But a wildfire, it commands attention. It moves in ways no one can predict. It spreads, it roars, it changes direction without warning. That's the energy you must embody, not chaos, but controlled unpredictability. A fire that burns where it wants, not where it's told. And let's break the lie society feeds you. They tell you consistency is everything. Always be available, always be reliable, always do the same things. And while consistency is good in business, in love it can be deadly if it turns into predictability. Because consistency without excitement is monotony, and monotony is poison to attraction. The Stoics understood this balance. Seneca once said, "Life's like a play. It's not the length, but the excellence of the acting that matters." In relationships, it's not about endlessly repeating the same safe script. It's about delivering moments that strike with excellence, moments that surprise, moments that inspire, moments that cannot be predicted. That's how you keep the flame alive. Here's an example. They expect you to always drop everything when they call. But one day, you don't. You're out at the gym. You're busy with friends. You're living your life. You don't rush to pick up. You call them back later, calm, unbothered. Suddenly, they see you differently. You're not just sitting around waiting. You're not predictable anymore. You're moving on your own rhythm. And that unpredictability makes them curious, makes them question where they stand. Now I know what some of you are thinking. But won't that push them away? Won't they think I don't care? That's the fear talking again. But listen, if someone leaves you because you stopped being predictable, they were never drawn to you. They were drawn to control, and control is not love. True attraction thrives when there's some mystery, some distance, some unpredictability. So let me put it another way. Predictability is like fast food, always available, always the same, always there when you want it. You crave it once in a while, but eventually it gets boring. Unpredictability is like a fine meal at a chef's table. You don't know what's coming, but you can't wait to taste it. You lean in. You're engaged, you're hooked. That's the difference you create when you stop being predictable. Now, don't confuse unpredictability with drama. This isn't about creating chaos or picking fights. This is about creating curiosity. Curiosity is the hook that keeps them thinking about you even when you're not around. And curiosity is born from not knowing exactly what you'll do next. Will you call tonight? Or will you be busy working on yourself? Will you be home, or will you be out with friends? Will you reply right away, or will you respond later, calmly, confidently? That's unpredictability, and that's magnetic. Let me remind you of this powerful truth. When people can no longer predict you, they can no longer control you, and when they can't control you, they crave you. Because control is boring, but mystery is addictive. Think about the most unforgettable people in your life. They weren't the ones who gave you every answer immediately, were they? They were the ones who left you wondering, the ones who made you curious, the ones who kept you on your toes. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking. Apply that here. Very little is needed to spark their curiosity. Just small shifts, just breaking the patterns, just refusing to be predictable. That mindset change transforms everything. So here's the challenge, folks. Stop being the easy script. Stop being the predictable routine. Stop being the fast food option they take for granted. Start being the mystery novel they can't put down. Start being the wildfire they can't control. Start being the unpredictable force that keeps them curious, keeps them engaged, keeps them crawling back for more. And I want you to declare it right now. Type these words in the comments. I will not be predictable. Say it to yourself. Say it to the world. Because the moment you commit to unpredictability, you reclaim the spark. You stop being the boring story, and you become the plot twist. Stay with me, because what comes next is even more powerful. If unpredictability shakes their mind, the mirror effect shakes their soul. Next, we'll talk about how your silence and detachment force them to see themselves clearly, and why nothing is more terrifying than a reflection they can't escape. But for now, remember this. I will not be predictable. Believe it, live it, and watch how quickly they start to miss the version of you they can no longer control. Number 6, the mirror effect. Make them see themselves. When you show people a mirror, they can't escape their own reflection. My friends, that's the essence of what I'm about to share with you, the mirror effect. And let me tell you, it's one of the most powerful forces in both psychology and attraction. Because when someone takes you for granted, when they start to pull away, when they stop valuing your presence, the best thing you can do is stop feeding them and force them to see themselves in the silence you leave behind. Think about this. When they ignore your texts, when they cancel on you, when they start acting distant, what do most people do? They overcompensate. They try harder. They text more, explain more, give more, hoping to cover the gap. But when you do that, you protect them from their own reflection. You stop them from facing the truth, that they are the ones pulling away, that they are the ones losing something valuable, that they are the ones creating the distance. Your chasing shields them from the uncomfortable mirror. But when you stop, when you pull back, that mirror rises right in front of them, and suddenly they are forced to see themselves for who they are. Imagine standing in front of a mirror in the morning. If you've had a rough night, you see the bags under your eyes, the messy hair, the unfiltered reality. Now, imagine someone rushing in with makeup, lighting, filters, fixing everything before you can see it. You'd never feel the impact of your choices. That's exactly what you do when you chase someone who's pulling away. You cover their reflection. But when you step back, when you stay silent, when you detach, you let them see the raw truth. And raw truth shakes people. At first, they won't admit it. They'll pretend they don't care. They'll act like your absence doesn't affect them. They'll try to convince themselves they're fine. But deep down, the mirror never lies. They start to notice the emptiness. They start to feel the silence. They start to wonder, why aren't they chasing me anymore? Why aren't they trying harder? That wondering grows into doubt, and doubt grows into fear. Fear that they lost something they didn't value enough. Fear that they might have pushed too far. Fear that maybe you've moved on. And my friends, nothing rattles a person more than realizing they're the one who might have ruined it. Here's the dark psychology behind it. Most people crave control. They want to know they have you, that no matter what they do, you'll be there. It feeds their ego. But when you stop playing along, when you refuse to carry both sides of the relationship, you strip away their illusion of control. Suddenly, they don't see the confident, powerful version of themselves they like to imagine. Instead, they see someone insecure, unsure, even needy, staring back at them. That's the mirror effect. It forces them to face what they'd rather avoid. Now let me give you a metaphor. Imagine they've been walking around with a crown on their head, convinced they're the ruler of the dynamic. They think they're untouchable. But then, one day, you stop bowing, you stop kneeling, you stop feeding the illusion. And suddenly, the crown feels heavy. They look around and realize no one is applauding, no one is kneeling, no one is chasing. And in that silence, they're confronted with the truth. The crown was fake all along. That's the mirror you hold up by pulling back. Let's break another lie they told you. Society says, if you love them, show them. If you want them, chase them. If they're slipping, hold tighter. But the truth? The harder you hold, the less they value it. Real love doesn't come from proving yourself over and over. It comes from balance, from mutual effort, from respect. The mirror effect restores that balance. It tells them, without a single word, I am not carrying this alone. If you want me, step up. If you don't, step out. Now, here's the catch. It's not easy to hold up the mirror, because it means staying quiet when your heart is screaming to explain. It means holding still when your mind is racing to reach out. It means letting them feel the discomfort instead of rescuing them from it. And that, my friends, takes strength. It takes emotional discipline. It takes the Stoic mindset of Marcus Aurelius, who said, if it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. Sometimes silence is the truest thing you can give. Here's how it plays out. You stop texting first. You stop chasing. You stop filling the gaps. At first, they feel free. They think, good, I've got space. But then, slowly, that space turns into a vacuum. They check their phone and notice no message. They wait for your usual reassurance, but it doesn't come. They test you with distance, and instead of you panicking, you stay calm. That calmness is the mirror, because now they can't escape the truth. They're the ones unsure. They're the ones missing you. They're the ones wondering. Think about how many times you've been the one lying awake at night, replaying their words, questioning yourself, doubting your worth. That's because they forced you into the mirror with their silence. But now the roles reverse. Now it's their turn to stare into the glass. And believe me, the mirror effect is brutal. It cuts right into their pride. It makes them question everything. It makes them realize that maybe, just maybe, they were wrong to underestimate you. But let me be clear, this isn't about revenge. This isn't about making them suffer. This is about truth. Because in relationships, truth is often hidden by noise, by constant talking, constant chasing, constant proving. The mirror effect strips all of that away. It leaves only silence, absence, and reflection. And in that reflection, they discover what they really feel. So what's the result? One of two things. Either they see the truth, that they've been taking you for granted, that they miss you, that they don't want to lose you, and they come crawling back, ready to step up, or they realize they were never invested in the first place. And in that case, your silence saves you from wasting more time. Either way, you win. Either way, you keep your power. Either way, the mirror sets you free. Now let me ask you, are you brave enough to hold the mirror? Are you strong enough to let them sit in their own silence without rescuing them? Because if you are, you will see just how powerful this effect is. You'll see them break their pride. You'll see them question their choices. You'll see them return. Not because you begged, but because they saw themselves clearly and it scared them. So, here's your declaration. Type it in the comments right now. I will hold the mirror. Let the world see it. Let yourself see it. Because when you commit to that, you stop chasing illusions and you start forcing reality. And reality, my friends, is always more powerful than fantasy. Stay with me, because we're not done yet. If the mirror effect forces them to face their truth, the next step transforms your truth. Next, we'll talk about turning heartbreak itself into fuel, how to take the very pain they left you with and use it to become unstoppable. When you master that, you'll never just make them miss you, you'll make them regret ever letting you go. But for now, remember this: I will hold the mirror. Believe it, live it, and let them face themselves. That's the power they can't run from. Number 7. Transformation through pain, turning breakup into power. The wound is the place where the light enters you. Rumi said that, my friends, and if you've ever been shattered by heartbreak, you know exactly what it means. Because let's not sugarcoat this, pain hurts. When someone walks away, when someone betrays you, when someone decides you're not enough, it feels like your chest has been split open. It feels like your breath has been stolen. And in that moment, the temptation is to believe the lie, that you are broken, that you are weak, that you are less than what you once were. But here's the truth the world doesn't tell you. Pain doesn't just break you, it builds you. Heartbreak isn't the end of your story. It's the fire that forges you into someone stronger, someone sharper, someone unstoppable. And the ones who hurt you? They expect you to crumble. They expect you to drown in sorrow, to stay stuck in misery, to chase them, begging for another chance. But when you rise from the ashes instead, when you take that pain and turn it into power, nothing unsettles them more. Because now, instead of crawling back to them, they're crawling back to you. Imagine this: a lump of coal crushed under pressure. What happens to it over time? It becomes a diamond. That's you, my friends. Heartbreak is the pressure. Pain is the crushing weight. But if you endure it, if you channel it, if you let it transform you, you come out the other side, not weaker, but shining brighter, more valuable, untouchable. Think back to the moments when you thought you couldn't survive without them. Remember how badly you wanted to call, to beg, to prove yourself. And yet, look at you right now. You survived the night you thought would kill you. You woke up after the day you thought would never end. That's proof right there. Pain did not destroy you. Pain revealed your strength. That is Stoicism in action. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Your heartbreak is not the obstacle, it's the path. But here's the challenge. You must choose how to use it. Because pain can either be the poison that keeps you bitter or the fuel that drives you forward. If you sit in it, if you wallow in it, if you let it convince you that you're unworthy, it will eat you alive. But if you stand up, if you decide, this ends here, if you channel every ounce of hurt into growth, discipline, purpose, you transform. You turn heartbreak into your superpower. Let me give you a metaphor. A sword is just metal until it is put through fire. It's the flames that harden it, that sharpen it, that give it strength. Without the fire, it's just fragile steel. But with the fire, it becomes a weapon no one can break. That's you. Heartbreak is your forge. Pain is your flame. If you let it, it will sharpen you into someone who can cut through anything life throws at you. And let's break the lies you've been told. They said, time heals all wounds. Wrong. Time alone doesn't heal. You heal when you use the time to grow. They said, the best way to get over someone is to get under someone else. Wrong again. That only buries the wound, it doesn't close it. True healing comes when you stop running from the pain, when you face it head on, when you learn from it. That's what Stoicism teaches us. Don't resist life's trials. Embrace them, learn from them, let them shape you. So how do you transform your pain? You start with yourself. You pour that energy back into your body, your mind, your soul. Hit the gym. Build strength. Learn something new. Dive into your purpose. Focus on your craft. Fill your days with discipline instead of despair. Because every rep, every lesson, every step forward is proof. You are not broken, you are building. You are not abandoned, you are ascending. And here's the dark psychology twist. When they see you thriving without them, when they see the very pain they caused you has turned into your glow-up, it rattles them to their core. Because they expected you to crawl, they expected you to cling, but instead, they see you standing taller, looking sharper, living better than ever before. That regret will eat at them. That mirror we spoke about earlier, this is where it burns the most, because your transformation forces them to face their mistake, to feel the weight of losing you. But make no mistake, this is not about revenge. This is not about proving yourself to them. This is about proving to yourself that no matter who leaves, you remain. No matter who betrays you, you rise. No matter what happens, you are enough. And when you live from that place, you become magnetic. You become powerful. You become untouchable. Picture it. Months from now, you're walking with confidence, your head high, your life in order. They see you. They remember how broken you were, how desperate you seemed. And now, you're glowing, you're thriving, you're no longer chasing them, you're attracting everything you once thought you'd lost. And in that moment, they will regret it. They will regret ever doubting you, ever leaving you, ever letting you go. That's the power of transformation through pain. So ask yourself, what will you do with your pain? Will you let it poison you, or will you let it propel you? Will you let it chain you to the past, or will you let it catapult you into the future? The choice is yours. And if you choose to rise, if you choose to turn heartbreak into your forge, nothing will ever stop you again. Because remember this, my friends, pain is temporary, but strength is permanent. Heartbreak fades, but transformation lasts forever. And the version of you that rises from this, that's the version they'll never forget. That's the version they'll crawl back to, not because you chased, but because your silence, your absence, your detachment, and your transformation made you unforgettable. Now, I want you to declare it. Write it in the comments right now. My pain is my power. Let the world see it. Let yourself see it. Because when you put it out there, you take ownership of it. You stop being a victim and you start being the victor. And before we close, my friends, if this message has struck you, if you feel the power in these words, do me a favor. Press that like button, subscribe to this channel, and share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Because we're building something here, not just advice, but a movement. A movement of men and women who rise from pain, who master themselves, who live with stoic power and unshakable confidence. Stay with me, because this is just the beginning of your transformation. Remember, my pain is my power. Say it, write it, live it, and watch how the world, and yes, even they, come crawling back to the fire you've become.